Esports is more than just gaming.
It's just a really good way to meet new people who are interested in the same thing as you.
It gives them a good sense of sportsmanship and teamwork.
The big goal with Garff Esports is to introduce these students to industry. We want to show them that they can take their interest and passion and turn it into future opportunity.
And it's open to everyone. Encourage students to sign up for Garff Esports today. To learn more about success in education and coding programs, visit SIEUtah.org.
Did you know that the average teenager spends nearly 7.5 hours on their phone every day? In that time, you could watch a 2-hour movie almost 5 times in a row, or ride a roller coaster at a theme park 45 times, or fly to Hawaii and swim for an hour. You can make the best use of those 7.5 hours by spending 5 minutes of your day on the Keys to Success app. Keys to Success is a mobile app and website that rewards you for exploring your future. See you soon!
Welcome in, everyone, to the Garff Esports Fall Festival, week number 1. I am Vaudable, and joining me as well is Blue Blazing or Danny. How are you doing today, Danny?
I'm doing well, Vaudable, and it's exciting to be here today. Can't wait to see some of these amazing teams play all out. I believe this is the first week of a 6-week, what is it, a scrim? Not a scrim, what am I thinking of?
Season.
A Swiss.
That's what you're thinking
there
of.
It is.
And
yeah.
Swiss stage, yes, of course. So there is 6 weeks of competition that'll be going on between the 3 different divisions that are competing from high schools and junior high as well to try and make it into the playoffs. After that 6 weeks, 1 team from each of those divisions will be joining 5 teams who qualify from LAN events. That'll be happening locally in Ohio, I believe that was, or Utah, excuse me,
Utah,
there
yes.
as well. So a lot of great competition to happen in these 6 weeks, but only a single team from each division will make it forward, and all best of 7s, Blue. So this is going to be so intense competition, making sure that you have all the chances possible in each of those series to do the best that you can.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And we're going to have an amazing showcase of talent today between Farmington and Pleasant Grove. This is in that respected 5A, 6A district. So as you can see on the screen, Farmington 2, Sillies, the Tempest 99, Danny Man 1212. And we're looking at Pleasant Grove soon. And I'm thinking about this team of, these teams. They have amazing talent as honestly a school district and a high school in Utah. These students, these players, they have a lot of adrenaline and a lot of energy, and I can't wait to see how well their teamwork shows.
And that's the biggest thing too. This is just the first week, so this gives us kind of a preview into how we expect these teams to perform throughout the rest of that 6 weeks of Swiss stage competition. So this is not the worst if you go down in this first best of 7, but it's also great to have a start with a win at the beginning of a Swiss stage, because as things go down to the different rounds of that, the different weeks of competition, the better you do, the easier of a path you have to try and actually make it into those playoffs themselves. So we'll see exactly how the competition mets out as the weeks go on, but this is our first look at the competition, how it stands. And I know, Blue Blazing, you said you had some insight to the ranks of these 2 teams. What can we really expect from them competition-wise for this matchup?
No, absolutely. Yeah, I did a little bit of research behind the scenes, and looking at it, Pleasant Grove has a little bit of an advantage in terms of ranking over this Farmington team. And looking at it, they have a bunch of champions on the team, whereas in Farmington, they have a little bit of a platinum, but hey, everyone says that platinum is the new GC at the end of the day. So, I can't wait to see what they have in store, honestly.
It's pretty funny because I have a bottle right here that says basically Grand Champ with a platinum symbol, so it works out perfectly. I mean, Rocket League itself, we're advertising that is the facts of the matter here for these teams. But we're getting into our first game of this best of 7 pretty soon. So based on those ranks alone, Blue Blazing, I think we could both kind of agree that the higher ranked team has the advantage. For this team of Farmington, what's going to be their key to victory, having to overcome that rank gap?
No, absolutely. I mean, looking at it, Farmington really needs to dig deep. Looking at the rankings, that platinum definitely needs to figure out a way to just kind of, level himself up in terms of skill, and hopefully he can get that basically Grand Champ ability to, go through the air and, fly high. But I'm going to say the biggest thing is communication. At the end of the day, Rocket League is that basic hitbox game where you just have to go through and get that goal and, you know, figure out like, will that platinum kind of succeed and get the other diamonds on his team to get through and get those goals at the end of the day.
And sometimes we see multiple players in the same rank, champion one, but one player might be more skilled and be the carry for that team that could lead them to victory in this. So really the ranks, we could throw them out the window until we see the end of the actual series itself. So once we get into that series, see exactly how things are going, we can get the stats, we can get all the insight from that first game. And the first game in a best of 7, I feel like it's a little bit of a feeler, Blue Blazing, so that way you can know exactly how your opponents are going to perform. And we're going to be seeing it here now. 5 minutes on the clock. Farmington 2 versus Pleasant Grove High School 2. They have multiple teams, so once we get them to go for the kickoff, I believe they're going to maybe be resetting this in a moment. So we'll see exactly what happens there. But nonetheless, I mean, this is what's expected. It's week 1. We're trying to get things working out for these players. So they're going to try and figure out exactly if they need a reset, if they're just going to go for it. But this is just the essence of competition. You're trying to work out the kinks as you go along.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is week 1, as you mentioned, and you know there's always some types of faults happening. It is Rocket League; anything can happen.
True.
And if I mean we're gonna have a game restart, but it's good to see that the players are already on the field, and you know it's exciting to see that. We're gonna have some, as I mentioned before, some great Rocket League, as you know, diamonds and champions. It's nothing like the, you know, the silver and bronze gameplay. You know, diamonds and champions, they're gonna fly in the sky. They're gonna go for some nice. Hopefully, we're gonna see some flip resets or something off the sidewall. Hopefully, and to get some amazing goals to highlight.
It depends how confident they're feeling, because I'm around like the champ 1 rank myself. I don't play rank as much as I used to, but when I was back in my day of the early days of Rocket League itself, just put on my monocle and have a cane beside me. But nonetheless, like seeing these young players still be at those ranks when it took me such a long time when I first started to get to those ranks is just jaw-dropping on how much the competition, as they grow up, as they continue to play the game, play those training packs, play in these kind of competitions, evolves throughout their career.
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully, you know, some of these teams go beyond just the Ken Garff Esports tournaments, but go on and you know level, you know, rank up, and hopefully one day be on that RLCS stage as well.
True. Yeah, even Collegiate Rocket League, that's starting back up pretty soon too. A lot of these players, as they're going throughout their high school journey, they're probably keeping their eyes on the prize and looking at the different competition that's out there, because that's now a new pathway into the pro circuit itself. A lot of those professional collegiate players, you could say, nowadays are trying to make it into the mainstream of the RLCS. We've seen some get very close, but not get into the main event itself. So maybe these players you are seeing here, in a couple years' time, you'll see them on the main stage for RLCS, so that'd be pretty cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, looking at the collegiate scene, I can for myself say it as well. Like, you know, the Comets in the back, UT Dallas, they've been pretty, you know, they've just made CRL League play. And, you know, just to say it for myself, starting, I believe, you know, 5 years ago, I started with the controller, big TV on the screen, and as a kid, just enjoying the game. And hopefully these kids are doing the same thing here.
Yeah, they can even play on their Switches from what I saw in the description of the actual competition too. So it just makes the barrier of entry for Rocket League even lower. You can play on wherever you want for free, because it's nice that you don't even have to pay for it. Just got to have your parents' permission, I feel like, is the biggest thing, depending on how young you are specifically there. But for most of these players, as they get the lobby reset, we'll be trying to see exactly what their strategy is. I saw a Merc on the field. Maybe that is just to intimidate the opponents there, Blue.
Oh, absolutely. Hopefully, you know, he's using that big hitbox to just go for those 50-50s and just show them, like, you're not getting past this halfway line at all.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing, too, is usually in, like, the top levels of competition for Rocket League, we see an Octane, a Dominus, and a Fennec. And those are, like, the mainstay car hitboxes that you're used to seeing. But I love it when players and teams and anyone, even in just casual or ranked itself, plays with a different car, because it's like, will this change things, or is it just a placebo for them? Do they make it just look cool? Do they style it? I mean, what's your like favorite style of car that is out there for you, Blue Blazing?
You know, recently I've been watching a lot of One's gameplay, and I gotta say the Sentio off of Azapathos.
Yeah,
you know, he was killing it on that.
He really is. I mean, he's pulling off insane plays, and he's around like the same age as a lot of these players that you'll be seeing today. So really goes to show, if you put work into it, you practice when you have chance to, you know, not playing all night, of course. You got to study for whatever you have class-wise coming up the next day, but you know, a decent amount of time, and follow those training packs. There's a lot of great coaches that are out there too, especially at a lot of these schools that now have chance to participate in these kind of programs, it's pretty nice to see the way that Rocket League as a whole, but esports as a whole, has evolved to welcome in a younger generation into the ranks.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it myself as a coach as well, just seeing those new collegiate students come in and having them and teaching them how to play, how to even play the game of Rocket League is amazing. Just you start up, you have, of course, you have your varsity players, but those newcomers that just want to learn the game, that are in that stage, and it's an amazing feeling, honestly, that coach to student relationship. And that's what I really value about esports now, is that they were growing super increasingly, honestly. And hopefully we're having more lands in the future for Rocket League. Of course, this one right now, the Ken Garff Esports Fall Festival, this is just a tribute to the younger generation and getting them into gaming.
Yeah, it's going to be great to see exactly how this team, like both these teams, fare throughout the Swiss stage competition. And then we'll be checking back in after we do each of these broadcasts in the future, exactly how the standings are making up. So who that you are a fan of or that you're friends of that go to a certain school might be able to have like the best hope for making it into those playoffs. Because again, only the winner, the best team that is out there, and I believe since it's Swiss stage, that means that you have to have a better game differential. So if you get a 4-0 sweep compared to like a 4-1 or 4-2, you do that much better. But hey, we have a game. We're going. We're 2 seconds into this one. The kickoff's already gone, so Blue Blazing, take it away.
Absolutely, and here we go. Farmington and Pleasant Grove, two dynamite teams. Let's see what they can do here. Silly's off the wall looking for a play here. Nice control on it as well, keeping on top of his car. And we're looking at it here. This is a best of 7 for everyone just tuning in today between Pleasant Grove and Farmington. And there we go. Ziggy starts it off strong.
What a way to start, too. Just so you know, Pleasant Grove in the blue, Farmington in the orange here, and Ziggy, a great setup. Almost, basically got the finish there, but fell into that one. Good team effort, but they wanted the credit for that first goal.
Absolutely, but that is a strong start coming in from Pleasant Grove. Let's see if they can continue this streak, or will Farmington just break that here off the play. Looking Jakey going off this wall play, looking for a shot on the net, but nice, beautiful play coming from Silly to get that away. And we're looking at it here, Audible. What are you thinking? What do you think the series score is going to be at the end of this?
Oh, that's a tough one to tell. I mean, what we saw before is that Pleasant Grove High School, they looked the strongest as far as rank is concerned. But it's not too much different compared to their opponents and what we've seen thus far in the first minute. I'd say we'd be safe with either a 4-1 or a 4-2. I don't think it's going to be a straight-up 4-0, though.
I would agree, definitely. I think a 4-2 would be likely here, but the shot coming from Ziggy almost on target, not quite finishing through Tempest. And this could be a pressing issue for Farmington. That ball is not coming out of their half. Pleasant Grove's doing a beautiful job in keeping this in the Farmington half. Let's see if they can continue. And Ziggy off the back wall, looking for someone there. The shot may be there, but no, it is not going to connect. And 3 minutes 30, the Tempest looking for the shot. My beautiful.
Oh, that's going to hurt, though. Looking again at that replay, Tempest had the perfect positioning to challenge 2, 3, 4 times in a row. Ziggy tried to get the save, but unfortunately on that finish, we did see them come across to each other on the net for the ball and just hit it straight into that player. So unfortunately could not get the save, but fortunately for Farmington, they tied it up 1-1.
Absolutely, yeah, 1-1. That's where you want to be if you're Farmington. And 3 minutes 30 seconds is basically like 0-0 now.
Yeah.
See if they can continue it. Silly, a little bit of an awkward touch for Jakey to get this ball, but Tempest quick enough to get to that play. And it's just Pleasant Grove just attacking the backboard of this net. This crossbar here for Farmington is that 4th defender, honestly.
That seems to be the case even at the top level of competition, that it's so difficult to get it underneath that crossbar, especially with the pressure that you're facing against the defense, like we're seeing here in the Pleasant Grove High School half. Because right now there's a chance for maybe Danny to get involved in the play, but Tempest, I would assume, is the one that is champ 1, if I'm not mistaken there on Farmington.
I believe so, actually. I mean, he is actually, I believe he's Diamond 3, so not even a champ 1, but he might be ranking up soon. I'm looking at the gameplay now. He could be there. Tempest with a nice save. Also, they're just clearing it away from Pleasant Grove. But Farmington is doing a spectacular job in getting this ball away from Pleasant Grove and trying to get this out, but the ball is just going ping pong style, and Pleasant Grove is just starting to keep on attack.
That's exactly what you need to do in these first games. Stay on attack, make sure there's no chance for your opponents to breathe. We saw a lot of demos that were coming out, making it difficult for Farmington to even break out their half. But where they led themselves to their own downfall, their own demise defensively, is when they overcommitted on offense and wasn't able to convert it into a goal. We do see a demo there, so Jakey might have a chance to put this one through. Unfortunately, there's nobody really backing him up on that play, so got to see a little bit more from that. That's the perfect time to strike, but a little bit too late to the punch on that one.
Passes are going through, but it's not the connection that Pleasant Grove needed there, and Tempest is just going to get that away. Ziggy almost looking for a backboard read here, looking for that double tap, but not quite finishing it. But Tort seals the deal, making it 2-1.
There we go. Nice touch by Ziggy, making sure he could get the read, hit it to the backboard, and Tort just had to simply touch it in. A double commit on defense. Well, it was more one of them committing and the other one staying back, but they were too close, so they didn't have enough coverage to carry out the defensive maneuver necessary to stop that goal from going in. So kudos to Pleasant Grove High School, but they only have a thin margin separating them and Farmington so far.
One goal, not a lot. Let's see if that Farmington can bring this back. Ziggy trying to go for that back pass towards his team here. Jakey playing it out towards the midfield, but Sealy's just getting quick to it and trying to get this goal here. It could be an awkward pass to Tempest as Tort counters it and plays the goal.
Nice shot here. Unfortunately there, though, for Danny, set them up perfectly for an opportunity. Was hoping that they could get a good touch away into the corner, but it didn't quite work out for themselves. So you have to recuperate after that. I mean, it happens to the best of us, so just brush it off, continue forward, still have a little over of a minute to play and try and come back by those 2 goals.
Let's see if they can. Danny trying to get some attack going for Farmington. That one player on the offense, 2 in the back, needs to be changed if you're Farmington at the moment. They got to get that rotation in there. Got to put as much pressure on Pleasant Grove as possible to get these 2 goals. Let's see if they can. Jakey off the quick miss. Ziggy a little bit awkward in the air here, but gets it directly to Tort. Beautiful pass coming in for him.
A little over 30 seconds to go for the last chance of Farmington to be behind us. We did see Jakey over to Tort have a chance for another goal, and there it goes. Almost saved by the defense this time, but barely missed out. And a perfect touch there from Jakey to Tort to just put it on target.
Beautiful 1-2 combo here coming from Pleasant Grove, and that's just awesome to see that teamwork is already strong with Pleasant Grove, and hopefully we're looking at that for these future games in this best of 7. If they can continue that, they will be in a very beautiful, very strong suit to winning the series.
Well, looks like this game is all but over at this point. Might have one final goal to go home with. Nope, not going to happen that easily for Tort. He's looking for another one. Try and complete that hat trick. Instead, might have to wait till a future game here. Just ignore that overlay for a sec as we got our first game done. It is going to be Pleasant Grove High School taking the victory in game number 1, but this is a best of 7. Plenty more games to go. They need 3 more wins after that. Not back-to-back, but still in total before they take 4 losses in total to try and come out on top as the victor. But first impressions here, Blue Blazing. I mean, Farmington, what did they really got to do to break out of their half? Because that seemed to be the biggest struggle there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Farmington definitely needs to bring that pressure. They really need to get those strong clears. And to be honest, someone always in the back post section. I saw a lot of the Farmington defense. They were just, going and struggling a little bit on getting that clear out. And a lot of that power just wasn't there. They kind of hit the sidewalls a lot and so on and so forth. So definitely Farmington just getting that nice defensive positioning there. Hopefully get that ball out.
Well, we'll have to see as we continue along for this next game. Game number 1 looked pretty solid. Really, I don't think it was quite lost until the latter half of that game as well. The majority of the goals took place in like the last minute or 2. So if they can get a goal early, talk about Farmington here, they'll be looking that much stronger. And that seems to be the difficulty for a lot of teams that are out there. I mean, I was watching some of the best teams in the RLCS struggle to even get a single goal, and it just kept hitting all the posts. But Farmington too, talk about them specifically, they have the potential here to come back, try and get the game here, equalize the series, and that's exactly what you want to see from these teams.
400%. That's all we need to see from Farmington is get that ball in the net and get it out of your half. That's the biggest thing to go against this Pleasant Grove team, especially against Tort. Tort with that hat trick coming in from last game. Definitely do not want to see him on the ball if you're Farmington, as he could strike quickly. But let's see if they can do it again in this game too, as Ziggy tries to go for that 50-50.
first 40 seconds, pretty uneventful, similar to what we saw happen in the previous game. It took some time for that first goal to go in, but we did see one in the opening minute of play from Ziggy. And Pleasant Grove High School, they can afford to take it a little bit easier, don't have to go full send on this game like the previous one, but I feel like if they want to have the best odds in the Swiss stage, they need to get every game as confidently and as much of a domination that we saw in game number 1 for the rest of them, so that they don't drop a single game and their record is that much better to get them into those playoffs.
Absolutely, that as you mentioned, that game differential is super strong, and there we go, Tort starting it off 1-0 for Pleasant Grove.
There we go. Nice one there from Pleasant Grove High School 2. We have multiple teams that are competing in this division as well, but one on the board. Took a little bit more time than the previous game, so it works out in the favor of Farmington, but they need to make sure they convert here. That's a good touch off the backboard. There's a follow-up, but no, the post, the actual crossbar itself denies them yet again.
Ooh, that fourth defender really does love Pleasant Grove at the moment. It's not helping them, but let's see if they can have it. Ziggy, oh my goodness, the open shot. No one was back for Farmington there.
Wow. That's unfortunate, to say the least. We did see Sillies try their best to dribble it forward, maybe play some mind games, but when that is happening, you can't afford to have the other two teammates in your blind spot, where if you lose that 50 like we saw there, it costs you a goal. It's better to have someone on backup, especially when you're doing that, and that was very close to directing towards the post off this kickoff. Pleasant Grove High School, they're not holding back here.
Oh no, they are not. They're starting their first game of this Swiss stage season strong, and they really want to show the other teams, like, if we have a 4-0 record against Farmington 2, we are definitely meaning business. But Danny definitely doesn't want that to happen. Gets that early goal, 2-1.
Nice to see from Danny. First time they've been able to get on the board yet today. So we only saw the single goal from Tempest in the previous game, but solid pickup. Knew exactly where he needed to go. Simple touch, and that's all you need sometimes to bring it within one again.
Absolutely. It's just all about the fundamentals, and if you can get those down, it's definitely a lot easier to win these games. It was almost Ziggy punishing that pass from the backboard there.
Very close, but luckily didn't really convert into anything just yet. We might see something soon if Skillies can't get in there. Skillies, excuse me, can't get there, and Tort seems to be the MVP of Pleasant Grove High School. They got 2 goals at least in the previous one. Well, now they have 2 here as well.
Just an unfortunate hesitation there from Sillies, but Tort knowing where to place that ball. That beautiful ball placement from Tort there, and it's apparent to see that Pleasant Grove is definitely just wanting this to go in their favor in all of these shots in these games. They're not missing quite a lot, and they're not letting Farmington pass that half whatsoever. And oh my goodness, the double commit could allow them to get this goal though.
Talking about the halfway point, we're at the halfway point of game number 2. We might see a connection there, so close. They're definitely wanting that one back, but I like the initiative that we are seeing from this Farmington team. They're not letting this overwhelm them. The differential between ranks, the differential between the score that we're seeing from game 1 and game 2, they are giving it their all in each of these games. That's so important, especially in such a long series as a best of 7. You got to adapt as best you can. It's going in the right direction. Bounces off the post and in. Thank the Rocket Gods it went through.
Thank the Rocket Gods. Indeed, that patience from Sillies was good to see. I mean, I was talking about before, they overextended quite a lot in terms of defense, not positioning well, but Sillies had the perfect placement, had the perfect position there to get that ball away from everyone else, and slides that shot in.
Well, now every single player of Farmington in this series thus far has gotten a goal, so we know the capabilities of pretty much every player. Tort, main striker for Pleasant Grove High School. We saw Ziggy, I would say, be the playmaker a lot of times, but also maybe like the second man on offense, and Danny is the man you want to expect as he has a plan to tie things up.
Oh my goodness, Danny, what a beautiful shot in the top right bins there. Woo! That's just away from everyone, and that there is the tie between Farmington and Pleasant Grove.
Beautiful work being put on display, as we can see here. 3-3, the closest competition we've had so far. That's what I was saying. The first game, it's really a feeler to see exactly how your opponent's going to do, how you can change your game plan. And if either of these teams do have a coach that's working with them, that's their strategy. Talk to them with the 60 seconds you get in between each game. Say, okay, we know what we need to improve on, tighten up the defense, make sure we don't get overwhelmed or boost starved, and make sure that we can go out with style, as we see here from Pleasant Grove High School. That seems to be their plan.
They're definitely going out in style indeed. What a double tap from Jakey. Goodness, guys. And there it is. That platinum tournament winner. We were talking about, he's basically a grand champ at that point.
I mean, showing the style that we expect to see from the top ranks in Rocket League, that's for sure. Nice to see him get on the board as well. I believe that might have been his first goal. I didn't see one from the previous game, but he had some good playmaking abilities from what we saw. And rocking the Merc, I just love to see it. A little homage, if he had the construction helmet, to Gibbs, one of the analysts that are on the RLCS desk.
Absolutely, but that could have been a miss touch there from Ziggy, but it looks like Danny Man just gets it away. And there's a lot of homages in the game of Rocket League, and definitely that construction hat is one to be noted for. But hey, I think that construction hat's working a lot better for Jakey right now.
Yeah, he doesn't even need it. Doesn't even need a topper. He wants to be as sleek as possible, aerodynamic as you can be in what is essentially a box, and is able to put that on through. Had the destruction necessary to redirect that into the net. 5-3. Such a close game, and then Jakey is the difference maker in this one.
Whew. Goodness gracious, Jakey is putting on a show right now. He's playing it off as well. Beautiful defense here from him, and that bump could be lethal for Pleasant Grove, as this ball is now coming and staying on their half. Farmington doing a beautiful job in keeping this pressure, but let's see if they can keep it or they just toss it away. Tori getting bumped off of there from this Farmington team, but last 12 seconds, I don't know if there's enough time to bring this back.
There is not enough time, but there might be. Oh, I was going to say there might have been enough time for Jakey to get the hat trick, but Tort wanted the first one instead. Was cherry picking after getting the demo. Jakey had the wide open shot, but Tort's like, I got this one, and locks it in. 6 seconds, 6-3.
Definitely the stat pad of the team. Tort wants to see that score report at the end of the day, be like, you know what? Hey guys, I got 2 hat tricks in game 1 and game 2. Like, come on, guys.
Well, the time is all but over. Just has to touch the ground, and 2 games already to Pleasant Grove High School 2 for them to take that one. Now they only just need 2 more, and I feel confident that we could see a 4-0, but I'm hoping for the folks at Farmington that they can get at least a game. That'll help them so much more, especially with the next round of matches in the Swiss stage as the matches go on. Because if based on seeding when it comes to Swiss stages, that's how things start out with those first round matches. Then afterwards, it's based on how many games you win or how many games you lose. If you go all the way to game 7 and you're a winning team, you play against a team who likely is swept in that first round. So depending on how things go, they could get a tougher seed. I believe, I'm not entirely sure exactly how the seeding worked for this, but I know all these players getting good experience nonetheless, even if they get a game, even if they keep it close. Farmington, they're evolving throughout the series, I'd say, Blue.
Oh, absolutely. Looking at Farmington from game 1 to game 2, that difference of, only scoring 1 goal, whereas they almost tied up the game in that game 2 for the longest half. And definitely, looking at Farmington, they have improved tremendously from that game 1 experience, and hopefully we'll see that in game 3 here if they can change up the series score.
The way to do that, yet again, as I mentioned before, get that first goal. That's how you keep the momentum going. That's how you keep Pleasant Grove High School at bay, especially if you can shut down any of these players. They are all looking pretty strong on PGHS, but we got to see Farmington step up to the plate. Danny Man was able to, in the last game, almost able to secure a hat trick. But we got to see what Tempest can do. Tempest got the first goal for the series and looked pretty strong on that. They just got to work as a team, and I think that's the biggest game changer that they can pull out of their arsenal of whatever they need necessary for an offensive attack.
Most definitely, yeah. Farmington definitely needs to get this ball out of their half first off, and for the first 45 seconds, we've seen PGHS just pummeling that orange net, but Farmington's doing a beautiful job in that defensive end and getting the ball out. Let's see if they can continue, and now on to that PGHS half. Let's see if Tempest can do something with this ball. Gets a 50-50 off of Ziggy, but can't quite get through Tort, and we're just approaching that ping pong style of gameplay where these guys are just going back and forth here.
Nice to see from Farmington, though. That means they are keeping it as close as they can, even with all the offense that we've seen every single game from Pleasant Grove. Now Silly's trying to see if they can go for the dribble plays. They learned from their mistakes in the previous one and had their teammates back far enough in case they lost that 50-50. So worked out pretty well for them there. Got to see what the Tempest could do on that play. Didn't quite get the connection that they were vying for, but nonetheless, they are putting up some pressure, putting up a fight. And that's exactly what you need to do to make sure you don't have to pull off a full reverse sweep, because that's what they'll have to do, Blue, if they go down this one.
That you do not want to do if you're Farmington. You got to get this game win to not, you don't want to get that reverse sweep. If you do get the reverse sweep, it is a story for the ages, but it's better to make your chances a little bit higher here.
Less than 3 minutes, as you were mentioning before, for any of these teams to get a goal. Farmington, again, they need a goal at this point for them to motivate themselves forward. And we did see a triple commit in the corner. That would have been the perfect time to push the issue for Farmington. If they could have converted off of that, that would have looked beautiful from them, but a little hesitant, which makes sense because Pleasant Grove High School players, well, they're pretty strong on the field.
Absolutely. Now half the game already over. Let's see what happens here. Silly's trying to get this ball to that midfield, but nothing happening here. Tort trying to get a pass back to his team, but we're looking at it. This is really good from Farmington that they have not been scored at all just yet, and it's been half the game already over.
That is very true. We have seen such goal-scoring paloozas happen in Game 1 and 2. 4 for Pleasant Grove High School in Game 1, 6. So 10 total goals, and now we haven't seen a single one in almost 4 minutes of play. We almost see one there from Danny Man, but needed the Tempest to be a little bit closer on the recovery. Try to be the finisher. That's what a lot of these teams I feel like struggle with, knowing exactly where to position themselves for success if an initial shot doesn't go in or goes by the wayside. We see the Tempest try to go for this play. Very difficult because it's a little bit too high for him to get up to. It didn't seem like they had much boost to work with.
I'm looking at this now. Pleasant Grove is not, I don't think they're communicating as much as a team, and so Farmington can definitely be in charge of this, and Tempest takes in charge of it.
Okay, Tempest, there we go. Was waiting for him to come online, and that's exactly how you do it. Got the read on the play. I've messed up plenty of those shots in the past, so it's a lot more difficult than you would expect to get the perfect read off of a bounce that just waterfalled down in front of him. So there we go, Tempest. First time Farmington have had the lead in the series. They're looking for another one. They almost get it, but no. The post, the fourth defender, strikes again.
Whew, Tempest just got to continue this onslaught. There we go. Gets past 2, though. Can't get past the 3rd defender, but a minute remaining in this game. Farmington showing that they can keep up with this Pleasant Grove team, and let's see if they can stabilize and get this game number 3 W as they're just continuously putting this pressure on here.
So close, just need to hold on for 50 more seconds, but we've seen at least 3 or 4 goals scored in that amount of time by Pleasant Grove High School in the previous 2 games. Tempest, the man with a plan, looking for exactly what they need necessary to come out on top. That is some good defense. They know that they can't overindulge on offense and try to get a cushion well enough for them to secure the victory. Their best bet is just to play keep away. That's exactly what they're doing.
Absolutely, yeah. They're just wasting the time on the clock, and as I mentioned, that keep away is super vital, but Tempest missing that ball could be fatal for them as Ziggy looking for the shot. Tempest missing that ball, and Ziggy finding the back of the net. It's 1-1.
The smoke screen from the demo makes it difficult to know exactly where things were going, but Ziggy had to read the play from a mile away, and 11 seconds is all it might take for either of these teams to get a kickoff goal. Otherwise, we get OT number 1 in week number 1 of the Garff Esports Fall Festival.
Whew. What a week it's been so far, indeed. And I mean, looking at it now, Ziggy just trying to seal the game 3W for Pleasant Grove. This ball is still in the air. It hasn't touched the ground, but we're looking like we're going to overtime.
Oh, so close yet so far for Farmington to try and get their first game of the season. They need it desperately, at least for their chances to have an easier road throughout the rest of the Swiss stage itself into these 6 weeks of competition. Sillies, though, it's wide open. They overcommitted. Pleasant Grove have sown their own defeat in this game, and what a way to come back.
Oh my goodness, the platinum ranked player has strikes. He is going for the goals. He's going for it, and there it goes. Farmington is coming back. It's game 3. Farmington now 1-2 in the series.
There's a reason that when you ask me how I think the series is going to go, I'm like, it's at least going to be a 4-1 because of how close the competition typically has been in those games until like the last few seconds or last minute or so when it's already such a large lead. The goals scored after that really don't matter as much. Now we see it here. So close after getting the first goal. Barely in the last 11 seconds, we saw Ziggy able to get one through. And then the overcommit. That is the downfall of the better teams on paper against some of the other competition that's out there. If you're a high-ranked team, you know you can score these crazy goals. You still have to worry about rotations. And teamwork is what makes the dream work, especially in this fall festival.
Absolutely, and there we go. Tempest looking to start this next game strong by putting a dagger onto the net, but not quite finishing it over Ziggy, but he looks like he's going over. Whoa. And Tempest starts it off strong.
Yet again, 3 games so far for Farmington. He's been able to get that first goal. Beats out 2, beats out the third, who's not able to get the connection. Very difficult angle to try and go for the save for Pleasant Grove High School. Now Farmington back on top. And so much earlier than we saw in the previous game.
Wow. Farmington definitely putting a new light on what they can do on the field. Let's see if they can continue this in this best of 7 and take PGHS to that game 5. And hopefully they could be in a 2-2 series, but time will tell. Jakey trying to get this out of the play. Danny, last person back, catches it and plays it towards the side. And Farmington, this is a kind of a new world for them as they are just taking and putting on the pressure.
The largest lead we have seen from Farmington to date. Well, this is only the first series that we have of the season for Rocket League at least. So still, it's a good benchmark for them, as this is only in the first minute of competition. We haven't even had an entire minute go by in game number 4, but they are here to stay and play for as long as they can in this best of 7. They are vying for the win, and that's exactly how they've been playing the entire series, Blue.
Wow. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if Farmington can take the series. And I mean, they are playing a lot smarter, as I mentioned before. If they just took a little bit more time and patience and played their defensive positioning a little bit better, they would be very successful. And it looks like they are doing that. So is they have better rotations, always having a man back on the goal, and it's working out for them.
It is working out indeed, but we got to see what Pleasant Grove High School can do. A lot of these teams, they're not used to playing from behind, and that's the biggest struggle for plenty of competition that's out there, even at the top level, as I keep talking about, for the RLCS, for what used to be the Rival Series, which was the Tier 2, even Collegiate Rocket League as a whole. It's a struggle for a lot of teams to try and figure out how do we use the momentum to try and come back, and right now they got to come back for the biggest deficit they have faced this entire series. 3 goals, Danny Man. 2 goals to his name yet again. Almost 2 series in a row. 1 in between, of course, where they got the victory, but 2 series so far. He's got 2 goals for his team.
It's honestly almost like the teams switch spots. I mean, looking at that game 1,
True.
Pleasant Grove was a tyrant over Farmington, and now, I mean, Farmington is just kind of just going with the motions at this point and then playing together. I mean, we saw that save right there, but you can't block Ziggy there.
Ziggy, I believe, has had a goal every single game thus far, and yes, they have. They are the most consistent scorer, the striker, you could say at this point, based on the competition and the display they are putting on for us in this first best of 7 of the season. Will that be enough? Well, there's 3 minutes and some change, so we have plenty of time for Pleasant Grove High School to try and come back. But if you're a Farmington fan, or even one of the players, you probably don't want that to happen.
Definitely don't want them to bring it back. Oh my goodness, the save from way beyond the arc. What a save from Tempest to get that ball out, and the double committing on the defense is somehow working pretty well for Farmington. They are just putting up a wall at this point, and just basically hoping that Pleasant Grove just hits it in the direction of that.
I mean, it's been working out for them so far, so the change in rotation, I think, has been the biggest difference maker, and making sure that they don't overcommit on a lot of these plays. Punch up in the corner, we saw that happen a couple times, but they've been a lot more spread out comparatively from Game 1 and Game 2, whereas Pleasant Grove High School, I feel like their strategy hasn't changed too much, but they are feeling the pressure. There's a couple of uncharacteristic misses happening here and there, and that might keep them down and out for this game.
Maybe, but there is time still on the clock. 2 minutes for 2 goals. It's definitely manageable for this Pleasant Grove team. Let's see if they can manage that play. They have this pressure now. Can they get the goal? The ball is all the way up in the air. The boost is being used tremendously by Farmington, so Pleasant Grove just needs to find the pocket there.
That they do. Time is ticking down. Less than 2 minutes to go for Pleasant Grove High School, and they still have 3 goals yet again. Speaking of 3 goals, Danny Man with his first hat trick of the series.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, Danny with the hat trick. It's interesting to see how Farmington now is playing so much faster, so much more prepared to go against and counter whatever Pleasant Grove has. And I mean, right now, Pleasant Grove just can't get through this Farmington defense whatsoever. Tempest looking for another goal here, number 5, but Jakey off the sidewalk gets it back.
There we go. Now we're seeing some wise decisions defensively from the Pleasant Grove High School players for them to try and make sure there's no chance for Farmington to come back and get at least a tied series, but it might be an inevitability at this point unless we see some goal scoring happening pretty soon. Tort relatively silent these past 2 games, so as they were the top scorer in the previous 2. So got to see them come online, and maybe that's for the strategy of Farmington, to farm these goals, but also make sure that Tort can't farm them himself.
Absolutely. I'm looking at it right now. Tort almost getting another goal on Danny, man. And oh my goodness, Jakey capitalizing on the missed touch on the save. Wow.
It's unfortunate. Danny had to go for the touch, but if he got a better angle on it, was able to put it into the corner for sure. So it's got to hurt, but they still have a 2-goal buffer, a 2-goal cushion. It can feel a little comfortable, but the heat is being turned up in the kitchen. They might have to get out of it pretty soon. In this next bit of play, Tort is just trying to mind game them, and Jakey, with the blinding of the demo, is able to take it through yet again. 2 on the board for him. Now they're only a differential of 1 between them.
Wow, I mean, I look away for 1 second and Jakey is just putting on a show at the moment. Goodness gracious, Jakey.
He knows when to do it. We saw that happen towards the end of game number 2, where they were able to go from a 3-3 tie and make it 6-3 at the end of the day. We might see it go to at least 4-4. There's still a chance for them to do it. Farmington, again, feeling the pressure even more so. They feel like they're underwater at this point, going for a deep dive, that they need to go into a deep dive of their strategy book, because right now, the strategy hasn't done them well enough. They still have 20 seconds to hold on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that they really need to hold on. The pressure is coming so fast from Pleasant Grove. They are not letting up whatsoever. But the ball is back on their half. This could be a shot for Tempest if he gets that backboard read, but no, he can't clean that up. But hey, 1 goal is all that Pleasant Grove needs. The ball still on the ground. Ziggy trying to find something.
Nice.
It does go on the ground, and Farmington is going to get this second win.
And that was Tempest yet again. Started off strong for this team, got that first goal on the board, then Danny just popped off afterwards, getting a hat trick. Then made sure that they could secure their victory by getting in at the faces of those players at Pleasant Grove High School and making it so that the ball was having to be grounded afterwards. Because they could have kept that up, they could have scored, and we could have gone to another OT, but this time, that's not going to be the case. I love this series. This is great work for both these teams.
No, absolutely. This is absolute great work from both of these teams. The Farmington team was just amazing to see. They were breathtaking to see that Tempest off the gate, as you mentioned. As soon as that team gets a goal, they start, then they win the game. And your words cannot be more true, as Farmington is just playing superb now.
But really, for these next few games, based on the evidence of the first 4, whoever gets the first goal is probably going to win. But we'll see what happens as we are looking for Pleasant Grove to try and bounce back. 2 games back-to-back taken against them after they got the first 2. I'd say they were pretty close for the most part until the last minute and a half of both those games. And this one, very close in the last minute of half, but really the first half ran away by Farmington. So they got to hope that they can reiterate on that success that they had in those last 2 games. There's only a thin margin because a single goal separated them and a potential OT in game number 4, where they had to go to 1 in game number 3 to get their victory.
Oh my goodness, Ziggy trying to get something here. The play just is there for PGHS. They have the pressure, but they can't secure that net. And, you know, as you mentioned, the pressure is there from PGHS, and there's a shot. Jakey starting it off strong, 1-0 now.
Okay, Jakey. We saw him pop off before. We see it happen again. Ziggy with the perfect setup. Knew exactly where he was going with that passing play. Jakey full steam ahead on the board. And if history is what determines the victors here, well, it's likely going to be Pleasant Grove High School maintaining that lead, but it's not over yet. It's only an evidence pool of 4 games. We still have plenty more to be played, at least in this one.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Farmington definitely can bring this back. Tort just on that defensive end now, and it's kind of an interesting change here that Tort is playing a little bit more defensively than, I mean, actually, he's just going for the ball now. It might be more of the monkey kind of play style rather than just playing defensively now.
Trying to swing wherever he needs to go and eat up the boost along the way. That's what we like to see from some of these players, but it's more of a fluid rotation that we're seeing from Pleasant Grove High School. Tort knows what he needs to be on defense and knows that he doesn't have to be the main scorer, because all these players on Pleasant Grove High School very capable of getting those goals. So they got another place in the rotation. They got to be able to adapt. And that's what separates the great teams from the decent teams. If you're a great team, you're able to adapt throughout a series. We're seeing that from both these teams if Pleasant Grove High School can get the victory here, because they haven't had to fully adapt yet. They haven't been able to be successful enough when they adapt to get that game win.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. The adaptation coming in from Pleasant Grove. I mean, that they almost got that win in the game 4. Really close, absolutely. But I mean, oh my goodness, Tort off the crossbar once again. But you know, the biggest thing from Farmington, I hope that Pleasant Grove realizes that double commit on the defense can be so fatal if they continue to do that. And hopefully Pleasant Grove finds that out, and they did right there. Jakey noticing the last defender there and gets the shot.
Between both of these last 2 games, Jakey has had 4 uninterrupted goals. There hasn't been a single one from Farmington, I would say, in the last, 5 minutes of competition now, because most of theirs were scored in that first minute of play in the last game, or first 2 minutes, I guess you could say, from what we saw from Danny getting the hat trick before. But now, Pleasant Grove High School, when they have the lead, they are here to stay and make sure that there's no one that can contest them. It's been a struggle for Farmington to break out of their side, but maybe they have been breaking up a little bit too much on these rotations. Good save there by Sillies.
That was an amazing save from Sillies. Yeah, Tort trying to bring himself up there, and I mean, this pressure coming in from PJHS is strong, and you know, hopefully they can capitalize on some of these goals. But 2-0, it's still a feat for Farmington to bring this back. I haven't seen any strong chances for a shot except for here. Steelers looking for a play though, and Tempest with the squishy save, not there. Tempest finding the first goal.
Okay, I like the attempt on defense with the squishy save. It's very risky, but sometimes it pays off. Might have been a better bet for Jakey to try and stay just in the net, but try to keep that momentum going for the save. Mere pixels separating him from getting a connection with that ball. So I like the idea. Not the best execution, but nonetheless, they still have the lead by 1. And Jakey is the star of this game.
No, absolutely. Yeah, Jakey is putting on a show, and he's putting on all the stops. He's trying to go for those shots, and let's see if they can continue that. Tort looking for another play for himself, but not getting through Danny. And 1:30 remaining on the clock. It's just 1 goal separating these 2 teams. Whoa, what in the world was that play there coming from Pleasant Grove?
Who knows? It's been some interesting stuff that's been going on so far with the way that the series has progressed. I mean, you would think based on the first 2 games that Pleasant Grove High School are going to be taking it in a sweep. And after these last 2 games that we saw before, Farmington, they look like they're going to maybe force it to go all the way to Game 7 in the future. But Jakey, it's just the Jakey difference that we're seeing in all these games, or at least the past 4, from what we have seen, that he's gotten the most goals on the board out of any of these teams, and he's got another hat trick here.
Wow. That's all I can say. We're truly speechless at the fact that Jakey is playing his touches. You know, a lot of unattended goals, a lot of unattended saves here coming from Jakey, and he's finding the pockets, as I mentioned before, that, you know, as soon as you find that gap in the defense, you'll get that goal, and that's where it is. Tort from Jakey gets the shot, separating it even longer.
Tort ends his 3-game goal drought after he was able to get a hat trick in game number 2, and I think he basically got that in game number 1 as well. So looking pretty strong, just cementing their victory, I could say, at this point with 50 seconds remaining, based on the caliber of offensive attacks we've been witnessing from Farmington. But it's not over yet, so we can't officially call it until the clock hits 0. There's no chance for them there. Danny Man almost able to strike true, and he is the one to lead them to potential victory in the past. We need to see more than that in these last 30 seconds of competition. A good pass, but there's no one there to receive it.
The execution there from Tempest just couldn't quite find the back of the net. And you know, there are those opportunities there for Farmington. It's just a matter of getting that ball into the back of that net, and they're putting on the pressure now. Hopefully we'll see that in this next game after this one. And continuously putting this pressure to bring them into a Game 7 opportunity. But looking at it now, 4-1, it looks like that Game 6 is going to PGHS.
It does appear to be so. No chance to come back, especially with 0 seconds on the clock and 3 goals looming between both of these teams. So, good comeback. Shows the difference between a good team and a great team. Like I was mentioning before, a great team is only one who is able to adapt as a series progresses. We saw that happen here from both these teams. Now we got to see the adaptation yet again from Farmington. And the trend continues where the team who scores first gets the win in the end. We'll see if that gets broken in this next game, or if this is going to be the last game of the series if Pleasant Grove take it and get a 4-2 victory at the end of the day.
Yeah, hopefully, looking at it, Farmington has that opportunity to bring them back. They had that pressure, but hopefully their mental is there as well. It's all about, keeping those communications up. We saw in that Game 2 and Game 3, they were playing super well because of those rotations and those positions, and hopefully that communication was super viable there. And, looking at this game, I believe 6 now, yep. Game 6, hopefully that Farmington can get that, mental, super positive to, bring themselves back into that Game 7 opportunity.
That's what we hope to see. We hope to see it go all the way to Game 7 in our first best of 7 in the Swiss stage for the 6 weeks of the season-long competition for the Ken Garff Esports Fall Festival. As now we go into potentially the last game of this one. PGHS looking to see if they can stop this from going through. Danny Man leading the charge yet again. And he might be the one that they need to rely upon. Tempest maybe getting it started, as we saw happen in 3 of the games out of the 6 that we've played up to this point. But now we need the special piece de resistance from this Farmington team to come out on top, and the post is not it.
Oh, yeah, that crossbar is going to be helping Pleasant Grove a lot, it seems. But, hey, this pressure coming from Farmington off of Jakey's miss could be strong. The play coming from Tempest, but Danny Man could not finish it. And we're looking at it, the pressure is here, but the execution, as I mentioned from last game, is just not connecting for Farmington, and that could be fatal for him if Pleasant Grove starts putting the shots on the net.
Oh, there we go yet again. Jakey getting started strong for this team. That's the first time he's actually gotten, well, since last game at least, the first goal for this team. Didn't take as much time as we have seen in the past, 4:13 on the clock. So Farmington, as long as they don't let a 2-goal differential pass them by, I think they'll be doing pretty solid in this game and still have a chance. But if we do see a quick goal coming out yet again from Pleasant Grove High School, as I just mentioned, it's going to be that much more difficult.
That Castus curse happens to everyone, but Torrent getting at the back of the net there. Beautiful placement and beautiful, miles per hour, the 60 miles per hour. Wow, Torrent. And this is a great thing to see from these teams, is that now Pleasant Grove has adapted to where Farmington is positionally, and they're just playing it off of those touches and going bit by bit. And now we have 4 minutes remaining there, up to, hopefully, looking at it now, they're probably going to go up a few goals too.
Well, we'll have to see exactly what Farmington can do to come back in this time, and if they got scored on there, it would have been very dire straits for them to try and bounce back. It took them 2 games to adapt before, but they don't have 2 more games here. They have only this game. And really, a little over half of it, remaining 2, pull off what at this point has seemed to be a very tall task, especially with, as I mentioned before, the trend of whoever gets the first goal typically has ended up winning these games. And so what happens at high school level competition, or even these kind of ranked games for champ, diamonds, and even platinums, when a team gets the lead, it's just so hard to come back.
It is. The lead is just a little bit of a striking fear moment for the opposing teams, and hopefully Farmington does get it back. I mean, we talked about that Plat Sillies getting basically grand champion level, so hopefully that inner strength or inner grand champion comes out in this game number 6 and gets them those 2 goals they need.
We're past the first 2 minutes gone mark of this potential final game, and it looks like it's getting closer and closer to being just that. Tort with the finish. Great touch by Ziggy with the follow-up. Got the double tap that was necessary. Almost even scored by themselves, but the grace of the crossbar made it so it would be his teammate instead getting the goal there. 3-0 before the even halfway mark of this game. I mean, what can Farmington do at this point, Blue, to try and come back?
Well, to be honest, Farmington really, as I mentioned before, that positioning, that rotation, that front post you see there from Danny could have been a goal if it's just on target. So just playing it out a little bit more, putting the pressure and playing a little bit slower. They're playing really quick. They're just giving the ball away a lot to PJHS, and we really want to make sure that they they can control the ball a little bit, go for those 50-50s, and keep this ball on the blue half as much as possible.
That's very true. We'll have to see exactly how things will be going down there. Right now, Pleasant Grove High School looking to cement themselves in the higher end of the Swiss stage against other teams who in this first week of competition have also pulled off a victory. But Danny Man strikes true yet again, weaves in and out of the defense, but Tempest with that demo, I feel like, set it up perfectly. And so did Sillies. This is a full team effort.
We've seen Danny Man come in clutch for the last few minutes here, and we've seen him do a hat trick in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and let's see if he can do it once again in this game 6. Danny Man just needs to come in clutch, and let's see if he can. Silly's keeping this ball in the blue half could be great to see. Jakey trying to go for something, but Danny is just going to get this away once again, keeping this ball in that blue half, as I'm continuously mentioning, as that is super vital for Farmington too here.
They still have a little under 2 minutes for 2 goals, and it's very possible for them to do just that if they didn't have to worry about Tord on defense. He's been so strong throughout most of these games, even the ones that they have fallen down on, to give Farmington those 2 wins to try and tie it up like we saw happen earlier in this series. Would have been a lot more goals if not for his defensive efforts on the back end, especially the backboard. You can just hit it perfectly onto that backboard, set up your teammate for a fall through. That's where a lot of teams struggle to play defensively, and we're seeing a great look from both these teams there. It's just the individual skill of Pleasant Grove High School might eventually be what wins them the day here.
Oh yeah, especially looking at Jakey just coming in clutch for the last 2 games now and getting those hat tricks, and especially Tort on the defense, as you were previously mentioning, super strong. And coming in the last minute, let's see if Farmington can change something. Just needs 2 goals to bring this back, and the pressure's coming in from Pleasant Grove, but if they can find that quick goal to get that, make it 3-2, there's an opportunity.
There's an opportunity, but if it goes to the back of the net, Silly saving the day there, keeping their hopes and dreams alive in these last 30 seconds. For them to at least get one final one on the board, keep it close in this last-ditch effort for them. But 20 seconds remaining, stuck in their half. There's one final attempt and maybe a quick kickoff goal for them to force an OT, but with the way things are going, this might be them down and out, but a valiant effort nonetheless from Farmington too.
Looking at it now, yeah, Jakey putting this ball back, 5 seconds remaining. Farmington looks like they will need to go into the next series and, one day go against PJHS 2 once again. But today, the victor, scoring a 4-2, is Pleasant Grove High School.
What a way to do it, too. I mean, beautiful efforts by both these teams. We saw an entire battle back and forth with both sides having a tug of war, trying desperately to see who could come out on top. We saw Pleasant Grove High School win those first 2 games confidently, very close for Farmington in the next 2, and then Pleasant Grove able to close it out afterwards. So, valiant effort from both these teams with Pleasant Grove. They go up on the high end of the Swiss stage, and now we see in kind of the lower end of the second round of Swiss stage that Farmington will do pretty well there for what we witnessed in this series, I'd say, Blaze.
No, absolutely. Farmington, that game 2, game 3, they were shocking us. I was honestly shocked myself. I mean, Farmington going for those 5 or 6 goals. I was like, wait a minute, what happened to this team in the span of 5 minutes? So I'm definitely excited to see what is in store for them throughout this season. We have that 6-week period of the Swiss stage, and hopefully, this is just the first week, and Farmington already showing the other teams that, hey, if I'm going against a champ team like themselves and I have a plat and 2 diamond 3s, we still can keep up with y'all, and that's really good to see from Farmington.
It's also very important in these types of competitions to save your replays. There's ways to automatically do that too if you have Bacchus mod, and then you can upload it to ball chasing. There's some different ways to look up to do that online, so that way you don't even have to worry about it. You have the footage there, you have the stats even that you can reference and know, okay, this is how we did on offense, this is how we did on defense, this is how our bumps and demos were. They look pretty good at the beginning of the series, but didn't see many of those towards the end. Maybe that's what they need to do to change the strategy for Farmington in the future. A lot of things that they can learn as they progress through these 6 weeks of competition. That's the great thing about this being 6 weeks. A typical Swiss stage, especially talking about the RLCS, one day is all you have, but you have 6 weeks, plenty of time to adjust.
Absolutely, that adjustment is hopefully there, and I honestly want to see Farmington get at that land stage against BJHS2 once again and see, you know what, hey, we made it this far, I want my revenge. So definitely hoping to see them. But honestly, I mean, BJHS2 looking strong, and if they ever go against Pleasant Grove 1, hey, best of luck to them.
That's very true. Well, we're going to give our own self shout-outs here before we head off for the day. So Blue Blazing, where can people find you? What are you up to next?
No, most definitely, I'm going to be on Twitter at Blue Blazing once again. And honestly, I'm just going to be on the CRL League play. I'm going to be coaching the University of Texas at Dallas throughout this collegiate season. And hopefully, we'll go through the entire bracket and make playoffs, hopefully.
Well, speaking of collegiate, I'm Vaudable, or Nick. I'll be hosting the Immortals Progressive Bundle Bash tonight. That'll be happening pretty soon, actually in the next hour. And then also be one of the 2 hosts for the CRLB stream. So keep an eye out on that on the CCA channel there. But nonetheless, it's been great to be here. It's been great to have our own part in the Ken Garff Esports Fall Festival. We'll be back in, I believe it's 2 weeks till the next one of these on a different day. Yeah, follow on Twitter. Definitely recommend that. You can see our names here. Very easy to find us on socials regardless. But big shout out to the production crew in the background from Spacetime Strategies. And we'll see you on the next one.
Esports is more than just gaming.
It's just a really good way to meet new people who are interested in the same thing as you.
It gives them a good sense of sportsmanship and teamwork.
The big goal with Ken Garff Esports is to introduce these students to industry. We want to show them that they can take their interest and passion and turn it into future opportunity.
And it's open to everyone. Encourage students to sign up for Ken Garff Esports today. To learn more about success in education and coding programs, visit SIEUtah.org.
Did you know that the average teenager spends nearly 7.5 hours on their phone every day? In that time, you could watch a 2-hour movie almost 5 times in a row, or ride a roller coaster at a theme park 45 times, or fly to Hawaii and swim for an hour. You can make the best use of those 7.5 hours by spending 5 minutes of your day on the Keys to Success app. Keys to Success is a mobile app and website that rewards you for exploring your future. See you soon!